Real quick before we talk about Cinestill 50D at this gas station, I'd like to invite you at 2 p.m. Central American Time Sunday, August 16th to a chat on this channel live between some of the best film photography creators on YouTube and myself. We're discussing the future of film photography and how we can make it a sustainable movement. If you'd like to know more about the round the table discussion and you'd like to turn on notifications for the event, the link to it will be in my description and on the end cards, and all the participants will be linked there too. So I'm so excited. I can't believe everyone said yes, and I will see you on Sunday. We are trying out Cinestill 50D, some expired film, and some Lomography Tiger 110 film today. For the location, I decided to finally try shooting at this former gas station I see almost every time I leave my house, and it proved to really surprise me. Maddie served as my model, and she wore this great red dress for a nice mix of colors. And oh yeah, if you're of a certain age, you've probably never even heard of 110 film before. I brought this for a future video about a camera I won't name yet, but I was testing the film here and got to feel old and amused that Maddie had never even heard of this plastic cartridge film of my childhood.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I had this other. Anyway, back to the 50D. Of course, I'd shoot Cinestill at a gas station, though most people associate the more popular 800T with gas stations at night. And like its 800 tungsten balance sibling, 50D and its daylight balance also display plenty of blooming of highlights due to the removal of the rimjet anti-halation layer on the Vision 3 film stock. It seemed more subdued this time, but I still enjoyed the subtle softness mixed with the extremely fine grain, especially since this is medium format film I shot on my Pentax 645N. I could have tried some slide film here, but I have been sitting on this 50D since the virus hit back in March. I also brought along something fun to play with, but we'll get to that in a minute. This gas station really blew me away. It seems to have traded hands several times in a few years I've been paying attention to it, and I always think it would be nice for a shoot, but for some reason I just never got around to it. Since Maddie offered to go to my hometown for this shoot, I decided it was finally time. And I'm glad I did. Knowing it was a strong blue and white, we countered the scene with a red dress. I'm not great at planning ahead, but I'm trying. Being the first time I ever actually looked closely at this location, I might have missed some things, but I was still thrilled at the options we had. I wasn't sure if someone was going to come out screaming at us, but I've always been careful not to look like I'm trying to break and enter in these places. It is good policy to try to get in touch with someone beforehand if you can. It's not as hard as you might think, especially if they're in neighboring businesses. Also, a quick note about editing Cinestill 50D. I see people getting a strong green cast on this film. Part of that, I believe, is from processing it in C41 instead of its native ECN2 chemistry. But also, I think it's because of the lack of a sulfuric acid stop bath, or so I hear. This is easily tweaked out in Photoshop, but it might take some extra attention if you're printing this in RA4. Maybe some filters, I don't know, I've never actually printed RA4, but that's a future endeavor. I had to stand. You can look at me on this one. I didn't mean to leave your car unattended. I should also note that I enjoy shooting things in difficult shadow situations to test dynamic range, or that test dynamic range, I should say. I also like the dramatic possibilities of using natural colores, like a shadow filter, sort of a shadow shape on people's faces, and it says things or kind of puts people in a more mysterious light or whatever. Anyway, Cinestill 50D held up very well for that, and even though this is some footage of me using the 110 camera here and there, these are still the Cinestill 50D shots. I'm just kind of, I was shooting them interchangeably, but yeah. Okay. So go ahead and stand that way. And there's no way I can resist backlighting. And, I just really like how it turns out. And also with the 50D, I was really curious about how the anti-halation or lack thereof, would actually handle this really strong backlight. I wanted it to be pretty hazy, and it overall was, and I kind of dig it. I think the warmer toned one is probably more effective. Okay, let's go ahead and stand closer to this. I was thrilled with the variety of texture and shapes and color and everything that this location provided me. I'm kind of surprised I didn't take the time to actually just almost walk over here and shoot pictures. But, you know, it's easy to overlook what's under your nose or what you see when you're in a hurry. But I'm glad I took a moment on this day to really explore the spot, and hopefully I'll be able to do a little bit more there again. Oh yeah, I took a few digital shots with my Fujifilm X-T3 because, yeah, I still shoot some digital. Want to fight about it? Having cleared my way through the roll of Cinestill 50D at last, I decided to try the first of several rolls I got from fellow YouTuber Alex Forestier, or Forrester. I'm not sure how he says it, but some friends of mine say Forestier. Anyway, I'm sorry if I got that wrong. But I got this film in a trade with him a little while back where we exchanged some medium format expired slide film actually, for some 35mm mostly Scotch 100 color film in 35mm format. Like I said, he had basically a brick of it, and I've been really curious about that film because I'm pretty sure it was basically just Ferrania, or Ferrania made it, and I love Ferrania stuff, and I never really shot the color stuff, or at least knowingly, and having used their P30 black and white stuff recently, I've gotten really curious about their color film, and I know they'll probably do something very different when they do hopefully finally shoot or make color again. But I wanted to give this a try, and I was especially intrigued because there was a strong chance this had spent a significant amount of its life refrigerated. And I shot some 20-year-old film with almost no color shifts, and this film expired in 1997, and indeed it had some loss of sensitivity, a little bit of fogging, and a color shift. But I have to say, I'm really pleased with how this film turned out. The color shifts, it was bluish, but in kind of that pleasing tungsten balance way. So I really look forward to doing more with this. And of course, I can't resist sharing some of the 110 film photos I took. I shot the Lomography negative Color Tiger, whatever you want to call it, and the camera I won't name yet, but I had to share the results. And the black and white was a little less pleasing, but I'm pleased enough with it. It's the Fukatsu, or however you say it, 100 black and white. I wasn't so thrilled about the color, but that's yet another story still. And I love how the size of 110 encourages doing more than just a tight crop. It almost gives it to me a Sarah Moonish quality to the images. If you don't know the photography of Sarah Moon, I highly recommend checking her out. I'd like to thank my patrons listed here. Your contributions help me so much, and they help me kind of stay afloat and encourage me to keep going, and they give me a little bit of freedom to experiment with things like 110 film and stuff like that. So I really appreciate it. You can join for as little as $1 a month. The link is in my description. I'd love to have you on board. I will see you on Sunday at the live event on this channel. Again, link in the description. So I'm super excited. I can't believe it's actually happening. And I will see you then. And until then, don't forget to like this video and subscribe and turn on notifications for this and the live event and all the people joining in, and Alex. And anyway, see you in a few days. Thanks. Bye.